I'm Caren Goldman. I'm the Executive Director of Compassionate St Augustine.
So I have the pleasure to talk with
Caren Goldman. I'm the Executive Director of Compassionate St Augustine.
Okay, and my question to you would be, the speaker was wonderful. I think she helped a lot of people grow here spiritually, just by her experience and her journey. And my question is, what is she part of?
She's part of what Compassionate St. Augustine organized as the month of forgiveness and compassion. And we actually had a proclamation that was signed by the City Commission and the Mayor, making February a month to really start conversations citywide about forgiveness and compassion. And this was one of the events that we included. The main event was the F-word Images of Compassion, which is an international photo documentary exhibit that was at Ringhaver at Flagler for 2 weeks. And here at the Corazon, there are also 6 panels from that particular exhibit. But we've also had a citywide reading program of a book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin, and book groups have formed around the city to read and discuss it. We had Stephanie Cassatly here tonight as actually somebody whose story is included in the Forgiveness Project. We have a movie next week. There's a workshop next weekend on forgiveness by a woman who's coming from Gainesville to do a process called The Works. And it's called the Byron Katie workshop. And so the month has been filled with activities that have had an impact in that people are talking about what does forgiveness mean, what does forgiveness lead to, how do you do forgiveness, what's the relationship of forgiveness and compassion. And the reason that we brought this to the city is St. Augustine, by proclamation, became the first compassionate city in Florida and the 20th in the world. And our mission as Compassionate St. Augustine, which is the grassroots organization that went to the city and requested this, is to inspire, influence, and grow a culture of compassion through awareness, advocacy, and action. And so this is really something that fits with our mission and also fits with our vision of the types of activities that can start to create the conversations with people of all ages about the value of civility and living into what's called the golden rule in all different cultures of doing unto others what you would want done to you, or conversely not doing to others.
All right. I thank you very much. You explained it fantastically, and hopefully FirstCoast.tv will probably be in the next event and see what that is all about. I think this is just great. Not just for our community, but for all people who come in contact with this project.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Your name is?
Stephanie Cassatly.
And what brought you to that point where you felt you needed to share the story with other people?
5 years ago, in 1980, my mother was shot and killed in a convenience store robbery on the outskirts of New Orleans. There were 3 men involved. It was closing time.
Well, it started with a writing program. I was in a writing program, and I went into the program thinking I was just going to write because I wanted to be a writer. But once I started writing, I realized that all my stories kind of circled back to this topic. It just kept coming back to this place. And so finally I had a writing teacher who said to me, you know, there's only one story that you can write, and that's the story, and I don't know why you're avoiding it. Write the story. And once I started writing the story, I realized the power of sharing story and how sharing story empowers other people to share their stories. And by sharing our stories, we purge a lot of the emotions that we carry within ourselves, holding it in.
Okay.
So,
would you say this journey was also a spiritual journey for you?
very, very much. For a long time, you know, I thought that I was sort of controlling. I spent a lot of, before I forgave him, I spent a lot of energy sort of trying to control my life. But when I finally forgave him, I realized that that it was never me in the driver's seat, that I've always been a passenger, and that all that energy I expended trying to be the driver was exhausting. And it was, once I let go and forgave, I became so comfortable in that passenger seat. And so, I do think it was a spiritual journey. I do believe that there was a higher force than me that sort of guided me through it. I just had to let it happen.
So you would have to also say that by coming to a conclusion of that journey, even though your mother had passed in this tragic way 20 years ago or so, that she also found certain peace, even though she was gone?
Well, that I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. I do believe that when you love someone deeply, as I loved her, that those love bonds are never broken. So I do feel that my mother's spirit was within me when I went through the process, that would have been what she wanted, was for me not to carry that anymore and to just let it go and to forgive, because when you forgive, you just release all the anger and the pain that you've been carrying. So I would say that yes, she had a hand in it, but I don't know
Well,
how literal that is. But
I want to thank you because I think somehow all the people that came to this event to listen to you speak about this very personal experience and journey, I think they grew quite a bit, and it makes things like, just like you said, that man with the Bible gave a conversation that triggered something, that started it all. And I think people like you start things in other people, and you'll never know.
well, thank you. I tell you, it's the interconnectedness. I just want to tell you one amazing little thing, is that just now in this meeting, a man came up to me. He went to school with the priest who facilitated their forgiveness.
Wow.
In Louisiana. He knows the man, the other priest. I mean, that's how it works. When you start doing and speaking from the heart and doing the work of just that we're meant to do, the doors open and connections are made. So
Thank you again.
pleasure to meet you. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
Questions?